la...
Da, și îți mai dau și eu un cod, să știi.
Da, te rog,
From there on, nu o să mai am absolut nicio reținere să te trag de mânecă.
Nu, te rog. Hai să...
But be your timekeeper, adică asta e un serviciu adițional. Ești în free trial, nu poți să fac mult timp asta. Hai, te dau o tweet. Hey, welcome back. Hi.
Hello.
Hi again. Hey.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello.
Just a sec so everyone will join. Some of the other founders will join as well. More or less half of you will get into the session. We got to the conclusion that we already miss you, but saw that we can do something for you already before you jump into meeting with people either in one-on-ones or in the Q&A sessions. And this is about your most burning questions that you have related to your DEX, so how people see the things that you do. So you wanna put up a short list of things that she wants to tell you, and she's super excited to hear out in the next 2 hours or so what are your most burning questions related to your DEX. And throughout the session you'll be hearing 20 or so most burning questions, so we can put a bet on the fact that you'll get the most value also from listening to the others most burning questions, and how can you want to give you some feedback on the spot. Also you, the other founders, maybe you can suggest some improvements. Oh, I think we're hearing a happy birthday in Lithuanian, or what's that? I'm gonna put you on mute. Yeah, cool. So without further ado, you wanna get back on taking the mic, and hi to all of you. We're super glad to see you again.
Cool. Hi guys. So as Alex has said, we don't want to waste time on the presentations and all of this. We do have some slides, but ideally let's do it this way. Whatever you have right now at the beginning of the session in terms of you already know the question, you already know you've got a question, that's super cool. If something else comes up, we're here basically for an open discussion and to learn from each other. You will have additional opportunities to discuss the deck with us throughout these weeks, but I believe this is a starting point for everybody and a way to refresher, as we said. So a way to refresh your deck, or this is a good opportunity to start looking at the things that you consider should at least be changed, or try to validate that with us. I'm going to share my screen, but just for a bit, because we'd like to do a quick around the table and let you guys understand who's in the call right now. And this is the first time, not all 42 teams are in the call today, but who's in the call, we'd like to ask you to do a quick intro of yourselves. So I'll share my screen just to have some slides on, but then we'll move on to, here we go. Just a sec.
Let's take the first one. I do see some names on the screen, and to make it easier for you, I'm just gonna say a name at the beginning, and then please ask you to choose another one to say something in the form of I am X from Y doing Z, yeah, and the company is Y, yeah, X from Y doing Z, so that you can then understand what are you, from what perspective are you addressing your most burning questions related to your deck. Rokas, you were first on my screen here. Could you take over?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Rokas. I'm CEO, co-founder of Charge Network. It's a software as a service platform for EV charging station management. That's in a few words.
Yeah, that's great. Let's keep this format and fast pace through with all of you. Choose a name on the screen and you'll find out more about that. Not hearing you, but read lipping is quite good in these times. Irina, you said Irina?
Alexander Badut.
Yeah, okay, cool. Quite a good pronunciation.
Yeah, perfect. So my name is Alexandru Băduț. I'm the co-founder of Otium, and Otium is a heavy development platform that is using AI-based content. Yeah, that's it. I need to call someone. I will call Irina.
Okay, hello. I'm Irina. I am the CEO and co-founder of Vaunt. Vaunt is a SaaS solution for real estate developers and real estate agencies that streamlines selling and managing residential projects. And I will nominate right now Marian from Work. I see there.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marian. We are Work, and we are building a social networking job platform for the construction workers. So kind of in a similar industry as Irina, but more on a different level for the subcontractors and workers. Yeah, I need to nominate somebody.
Yes, please.
Rafal.
Nomination. Okay, I'm Rafał, the CEO of Heavy Kinematic Machines, where we develop Solo Workout. It's such a cloud-based solution for retrofit gym equipment, so we can get statistical data of the people who are workouting on the equipment, and we can deal with the data, do everything, serve application to the users, and so on. Yeah. So I to Natalia.
Hello, I'm only one Natalia. So hi everyone, my name is Natalia and I'm a co-founder of Bidrentum, which is a PropTech startup from Estonia, from Tallinn. And what we are doing, we are building a SaaS platform or CRM system for rental property management. So we are operating in a rental real estate industry. So hello to other PropTech startups and other startups as well. And I have to nominate Aline, or no, sorry, maybe I
yeah, almost. Aline.
Okay.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Aline. I'm the CEO and the founder of Repsmate. Repsmate use AI and big data in order to transform call center agents into top performers. And I would nominate Rafael.
For the second time, me?
Sorry, sorry.
Okay.
Veronica.
Hi everyone.
We don't keep counts, but this is not good, Ali.
So hi everybody, I'm Veronica and I'm the CMO at Milas. And at Milas, we build B2B technology for taxi and ride-hail operators, so the likes of Uber and Bolt. And this technology enables them to automatically interconnect public transport in city centers with their services on the last mile. So in areas where people would need to transfer to another public transport or where public transport would not take them. And I'm really looking forward to working with all of you in the program, and I'm nominating Gabby as the next one.
Hi, I'm Gabby. I'm from Brio, and Brio is I'm the CEO of Brio. Brio is in education. It involves educational standardized testing for K-12 pupils. And
Yeah.
I'm nominating Florin.
Hi, thank you. I'm Florin. I'm a co-founder of Energy AI, and what we are, it's a energy marketplace helping both retail and industrial consumers to choose the right electricity. Sorry, to save money on their electricity cost by choosing the right provider. Virtually, that is a cheaper, maybe greener provider. So in 2 words, we are experts in machine learning and utilities, mainly electricity and gas, and we combine the two and try to help people save some money in the process. And I nominate Yon.
Hello. Hello, do you hear me?
It's a bit of a buzz, but yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. Hello to everyone. My name is Ion Mocanu. I'm the CEO and co-founder of CardioMediv. At CardioMediv, we're developing an innovative medical grade device which will address home patient monitoring and remote clinical examination. And we hope this both function to involve each patient to care about his health more deeply in his daily life, not only at doctor office. Doctor visits usually take a couple of minutes, no more than 30 or maximum 1 hour. But what happens between the doctor visits till now is on a black box, and with our device we want to address this challenge. The device consists of a smart ACG page. It can be attached to patient, and we measure more than 10 vital signs. The device is connected with phone, with through cloud, and the data can be reached in real time the doctor or observer, or even by patient, in order to interact in due time if health suddenly deteriorates. Or all the data can be stored in the cloud, and clinical decision can be made on this data lately on next remote visit. So this is what we are doing, and
Got it, Yon. That's enough for the moment. Let's keep the high pace, yeah, and everyone says just a high level of what they're doing. Pick somebody else.
Pick me.
Don't try to speak until somebody gets in, because I will get in. yeah, pick me. Who's that? Rafal?
Yeah, it's me.
Whenever you don't know who to pick, just pick Rafal. Yeah, Yon.
Yeah, I can go ahead. Yeah, it's Hadi. I'm calling from Estonia. I'm CEO and founder of Contester. We provide guided video shopping technology for brands to increase their sales by creating personalized experiences. That's it from me.
Someone, please. Thanks.
Actually, not yet.
Dominic, yeah, maybe if you haven't talked yet, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hi, hello, my name is Dominic. I'm calling from Poland. I'm a co-founder of Teamshark. Teamshark is a platform for cohort-based, real-time instructor-led courses. We not only provide a marketplace, but also a cloud-based solution for software-based courses. So where instructors can run all sorts of software required for each course or each event. So that's all from me. I'm happy to be here. Okay, so so I choose. I'm not sure. So Rafał, please help me, because everyone.
Impossible.
Okay, sorry. Once again.
But it worked. Okay, Sandro.
Sandro.
Okay.
Yeah,
It says
sure.
Sandro, that's it.
Hi, everybody. My name is Sandro. I'm the founder of iSpeakUp. We are building the future of mobile learning. Right now, you can think of us as an interactive TikTok for language learning. We're starting with English. I am from Colombia, but I am based of Lithuania, Vilnius, and I am very, very excited to be here. I joined a couple of minutes later, so I'm not really good, but I'm going to guess. I'm going to choose Vlad just because I like his name. And if that's Vlad has already spoken, he needs to choose who goes next.
That's great. We're going around the table and everybody's saying exactly what you said, the one-liner and introducing himself or herself. So that's perfect.
Hi, I'm Vlad from K Factory. I'm really happy to meet you. I'm the co-founder of K Factory Startup. It's an Industry 4.0 startup. We are automating and optimizing operational processes within factories using IoT, machine learning, artificial intelligence. So we are helping manufacturing companies to improve the performance and productivity through technology. I will choose Kenneth.
Hey guys, this is Kenneth calling from London. My co-founder is from Poland, so he can't join. So I'm representing him as well. We are a new credit trade finance platform connecting SMEs with global lenders. We basically lend money to import exporters in partnership with banks and non-bank financials. And the platform is powered by blockchain. That's it. I don't know. I actually don't know who hasn't been speaking.
I think Adrian, for example.
Yeah, please, yes. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm Adrian, the CEO and co-founder of Batistec. You at Batistec develop speech recognition infrastructure with specialized models on verticals. You have, with our models, higher accuracy, and our models are more cheaper than big tech solutions. And moreover, with our infrastructure, everyone can develop their custom speech-to-text models. That's from us. Next one. I think Irina.
I think I already said something, but if you want me to say again.
Another one.
Maybe
Ioana?
Yes, so I'm Ioana, I'm the CEO of Convi, and we make it possible to partially own investment grade assets like fine art, watches, wine.
Great.
And I don't know, I had to join slightly late, so I don't know who else has to present.
It's me. I'm a bit late. I'm sorry, I can present myself whenever you say.
Now it's perfect, thanks.
Perfect, thank you. I'm Oleg, founder of Drafter AI. We are working on a low-code platform for data-driven and AI-driven applications. So we let product teams to build and launch any kind of AI and data-driven application in less than a month.
Great, thanks a lot. So who hasn't been introduced or?
Piotr is waiting in his car since a few minutes now.
That's true, that's true. So hi guys, I'm Piotr, I'm founder of Friendro. And so let me tell you a little about what we do. right now, most of the creatives in film design and animation are still using traditional local computers and drives to do their work. And those are heavily time and money consuming. And we in Render, we are here to change that. We are a cloud-based solution that allows those creatives to perform their work from any device connected to the internet in a pay-as-you-go model. So it is something like a very easy to use AWS for creatives. I'm super excited to be here. I'm super excited to meet you all. And I would nominate Alexandru.
Thanks. Actually, I will nominate, I've introduced myself before. So I will nominate George. Yes, it's because he's my co-founder, you know, so this is how it works.
So thank you, Alex. I'm George. I'm the technical co-founder of Otium. I'm calling in from Romania. What we do at Otium we are building a consumer product which does AI-driven habit development. And I am really very excited to be here with you all.
Now you need to say a name, yeah.
Yeah, I will just pick, I think Ilya has his hand raised, so I'll just pick him. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ilya, CEO, co-founder of BitScout. We help project managers and operation teams double their productivity without extra headcount. And we do that by allowing them to create ready-made intelligence and add them to their tools like Asana or Monday, so they can automate manual data input tasks. And hopefully I'm not the last, so I don't know who's gonna go next.
I think
I can go.
Oh yeah, sure.
So, it's me, right?
Yeah. Hi.
Okay, my name is Mihai Dragan. I'm one of the co-founders of Streams.live, which does live stream shopping. Basically, we combine live streaming and shopping into an experience that combines online and offline shopping. And we feel like this is the future of commerce. Thanks. Let's see. Who would be next?
Yeah, I'll go next.
Ilya. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Ciprian. Okay. Go.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Ciprian Petrini. I'm a co-founder and CEO of SenseTask. We're a startup from Iași, Romania. We developed a SaaS cloud-based platform that uses AI to automatically classify and extract key data from documents. Okay, and I'm not sure if I'm the last one, but I don't see a hand raised here.
Not yet.
I think we haven't. Oh, right.
I think just me. I'm a CEO and co-founder of Winsbay. My name is Nick. My real name is Mikołaj Szymiński, but I go by Nick. It's much easier that way. And at Winsbay, we're transforming product placement into a measurable sales stream. So we work with TV and show our users, viewers, what they can buy from the TV, from programs, any programs. Thank you.
Ball rolling. I think Ru, Veronica.
I don't know if you can hear me. I hope it's not too noisy. I'm commuting right now. But my name is Ru, and I'm co-founder and CEO of BeeSage. And what we're building is a beehive monitoring system that optimizes workflow and reduces costs to benefit the earth through data-driven beekeeping. And I don't know who to nominate because, I can't really see the list here on my phone.
I think that's it, isn't it?
I think it's me. It's Rade. Actually, sorry for my name on the Zoom. My mistake. So I'm Rade, co-founder of Microtica. We're building a SaaS platform that enables developers to set up infrastructure and deploy apps in a self-service manner by abstracting a lot of complexity that comes with managing the cloud infrastructure. So we can enable developers to work on their code instead of managing complex cloud infrastructure.
Great. Has Mileus been? Veronica, you've said that? If not,
yeah.
Yeah, cool. then Rafal, and we are done. Okay, back to you, Ioana.
Great. So just a couple of words on myself as well. Now I'm obviously with the House Web team. Before that, CCAM, Seraphim Space Camp. I've been in the UK for 10 years, approximately. So before the experience with funds or programs, acceleration programs, part of Seraphim Space Camp, for example, I've been actively engaged in startups myself. So I switched sides afterwards, but the starting point were startups. Now, so we're here to discuss the pitch deck. Hopefully, you've all got, not hopefully, you've all got experience in delivering your pitch, in using it for actual reasons and not just practicing it. So you've done things with your deck. So we won't be discussing the super basics. We're here actually to discuss, as we've kept on saying, the burning points. But just to set the basics, these are the things that we've seen throughout the years, some tips or some do's and don'ts, or just some practical advice, if you want, to start the conversation on things that we consider to be more or less essential when we see decks ourselves. Obviously, you've been selected, and the deck was one of the major things that we looked at, and then obviously all the details you shared in the application. But how impactful is the deck is something you've all experienced. Throughout when reading a deck, there are things that should stick to us, right? And some things are related to the vision, and then some things are related to the immediate actions. Both of them have equal importance according to where you're at and what you're trying to achieve. But it should be nonetheless important to make sure that the deck transmits both the vision and the bigger picture and the immediate actions. And obviously, as you know, and it'll be one of the points mentioned, there should be an ask. So the immediate actions should reflect into what are you asking for when you're pitching, and how are you going to use the things that you're asking for. So if it's money, how are you going to use the money? If it's recommendation for somebody joining the team, what role that person would have in the team, and so on and so forth. A key understanding and a very solid understanding of the financials. And then there are a lot of market fits. One of the probably most important bit that's not necessarily said, but very much looked at, is that founder or team market fit. So make sure that when you deliver the deck and when you deliver the pitch, or when somebody looks at the deck, it's very, very clear why you as a founder or as a team are perfect to be doing this, the business that you're doing. One of the key questions that we got throughout the years are when you're raising from angels versus venture funds. You have a conversation with Bogdan as well in regards to setting the right amount, for example, or not necessarily the right, but an amount that can be justified. And you'll go deeper with him as well to see what our angels are looking at, what our VC funds are looking at, and if you should have different tactics or different ways to approach this according to the audience. And you all know that how important the context is when you have a material, regardless if it's a deck or a one-pager or a website or whatever it is, knowing your audience is the key bit. So angels would primarily look at how risky is the tech, users, revenue, how difficult is it to bring new users. So whereas the VC funds will look at the bigger picture, will look how big is the market, where are you going to, how can the company grow, vision, what's the market size, and the idea of scalability is something that's way more pressing somehow in the eyes of VCs. How fast can you scale and how capable the team is to do that? As I said, we'll go deeper into all these, but it's quite important that you know in regards to the ask and in regards to who are you presenting to and the context, there's a split and there's a difference. And I'm pretty sure that most of you already know that. Right, so as I said, a list of do's and don'ts. This is just something that we think might be useful as a starting point. There are no set rules. Everybody knows everybody knows what to take out of this. We're very much, we have a lot of confidence in what you do, but we're here to, to support and to ask, to answer the question that you have. So recommendations on the length, 20 slides, better 12, 15, maybe on the bigger rounds you can increase the size of the deck, of course, but make sure that financial scene competition, these are the slides that everybody will take, and this is part of the the research that has been done in regards to how much time investors are looking at, how much time do the investors spend when they look at a deck. And these are, according to research as well, the slides that they spend most time on. Timing, business model, vision, market comes as a second layer. So if we were to round up, essentially we'll get to the entire deck, but financial theme and competition are things that will for sure not be missed when reviewing a deck. Tip number one, be sure on the data or don't use it at all. And this comes with honesty and sincerity. So it's better to just don't use things that you cannot back up. Sooner rather than later, you'll get to those awkward questions or awkward moments when if you don't have a clear understanding of why you put those numbers on the deck, or why you're saying that you'd like to get to that point sooner, and you'll just end up going in this loop of uncertainty, and this is what you create, and you don't want to create uncertainty. If you have less, but you're sure that what you're putting on the deck is something that you can back up, it's way better than having some weird sort of stats or data according to what you already have, in relation to what you already have, or the vision. It doesn't matter. What you put in the deck should be very comfortable for you to explain. You should always have this vision of one step ahead. So whatever you put in the deck, make sure that it's linked to your vision and your growth plan. So again, it's a matter of justification on the vision, on how you would scale, on not just short term, but actually on the bigger picture of where you'd like to get to. And anticipate the fact that this is one of the most important things to have, inside your thinking. The investors will be part of your team, basically. So they're equally interested in knowing that it's comfortable to join a team that's super not just enthusiastic, but actually prepared to look at growth and at the next steps. So it's like a hire in a way, but with the support that comes along. Clear ask. It's maybe not at the stage you're at, especially if you've used the deck, so but we have seen a lot of decks where there's no clear ask. So it's like not knowing necessarily why are you in the meeting if you're not asking something. So what's the purpose? Sometimes we've been in meetings where the investors are asking, that sounds great, but how can I help? So okay, it's fair to get the question, but why should you wait for the question? There's no elephant in the room. When you're pitching, you should have a clear ask. And then another quite big pain point that we've come across is how you articulate the market size and the ideal customer profile. And that's the, the two approaches, the think big, think small, top down, bottom up, market opportunity or realistic targeting. So try to think the best one for you, but as long as it feels real and it feels tangible. So don't look at a global market if you cannot justify those big numbers sound great, but are they actually relevant to your business in terms of next steps? So the realistic targeting doesn't mean that you won't be focusing on the bigger market or that there isn't an opportunity for you to grow, but it can show that you've got this sense of reality. So it's again a matter of where you're at. At least in this call, there are 27 teams. So there are differences just in between, 27 teams. So we'll look into particularities in the next minutes. But the idea is that you should get them and you should illustrate the how things are relevant for you so that you're not too far away from what reality describes your business. Delivery is something it's obviously, again, something practice, open to feedback and natural. Out of these three, you all know how important, practice and being natural is. The open to feedback is something that, again, we've come across as not being so natural to everybody. And the defensive modes, of course, it's when you put so much work into what you're doing, it's not always easy to get even a negative comment and be so open to feedback, but it's something that you should practice and train as well, so that you show flexibility when you're pitching. Create a memorable, so the narrative is super important. The deck is just a support, but you should have this narrative, practicing it with non-technical people, with people that shouldn't understand the details and the granularities of your market and your business, but should understand in simple words what you put on your website should be understood by non-technical people. So even by people who don't have the same expertise and industry depth knowledge as you do. It is about emotions, and it is about, if you've got a great founder market fit story and why your personal journey brought you to this point, still make sure you're backing it up by data. So don't just leave it to the emotional bit, because at the end of the day, it should still be backed somehow of, the reasons why building this is not just emotional, but because there's a relevancy on the market that the product should exist and that it solves a real problem. So, and the value proposition, what you do and who you're talking to should be, again, part of that memorable story and how easy it is and how simple it should be for people to remember what you're doing. Make sure that you state that at the beginning and you position your audience. The moment you start, you position yourself in the mind of your audience, explaining what you do and who you're talking to. So your value prop. Just a super quick tips on style and layout. Show, don't tell. So yes, if you've got things to show them. Same style, don't over clutter, and don't use more. That's one of the things that applies not just to graphics but to text and to everything and details. Get rid of anything that's extra. Large graphics, or make it as good as readable as you can for any sort of experience, mobile experience. So we're doing things nowadays on so many types of devices. So you should test your deck and see that it's readable even on mobile. And the order of slides, it's according to priorities. We sometimes get the question, should I put theme slides, in the first 5 or at the end? It really is according to what your team is building and how, if you've got a great founder market fit and your experience really shouts, we're great and got this amount of experience already. Yeah, maybe prioritize with that. It's part of your value prop anyway. Going to the list of don'ts, try to avoid adjectives. So just use actionable words, right? So verb, nouns, things that are stable somehow. Adjectives are very subjective. So some cool features, it really says nothing. It says that somebody considers what's cool. What are features? What is some? Is some measurable? No. So try to use things that are actionable, measurable, clear to be understood, and not subjectives. What you think is cool might not be cool for somebody else. Don't create that, don't leave the guys hanging. So don't create that sort of, I'll let you know what I'm building on slide 6. But before that, I'm just gonna do this intro, this sort of, quick introduction just to increase your interest in a sort of, no, it should be clear right from the beginning what it is. It's not a trailer to a movie. Just because you'll be wasting 5 slides on something that could build an expectation, and then when you hit somebody with what you're doing on slide number 5 or 6, and that thing is really on the flip side of what you said in the beginning, you've just wasted a couple of minutes on building something that's actually not real. So keep things simple and clear, and you can build this hypes of interest on the things that you put in the deck, rather than going away with the emotional sort of a trailer type of movie, and just say things right from the beginning. Of course, no reading, no sentences, talk. There are so many meetings with investors, with partners, where there are actually no support slides. So you should be the one who does the talking, and you should have that narrative within you. And you should just be comfortable to have that if the device switches off, or if you get to that meeting in the unfortunate day of computer failure and you don't have any, you should just be as prepared, not to read but to talk. In regards to cliches, you can use references, Uber as, but only if it's highly relevant to you. Right, so in a nutshell, once you remember what you do, differentiator, why you, why now, and ask. Great, so let's move to your questions right now. I've just given a couple of examples on the things that throughout, again, that we have received as quite frequently as questions, but just don't take these into account. Let's go to your questions. So who'd like to start? I think if we go around. Yeah.
Just a bit on the format. So we do expect that you have most burning questions, and since you are 20, we can have as much as 20 different burning questions, or at some point they will clutter into some patterns. If you get to a question after it has been addressed, try to come up with something new or something in addition to the initial question that was around, I don't know, traction and valuation, not just specifically for you, just bring another layer on the problem. Yeah, let's build chunks of problems, not address specifically your deck. You might be fixing your deck after this discussion or not, or you might just be letting things mellow and you'll come up to some resolutions in the weekend or after the weekend, and so on and so forth. Just let's build up big problems that Ioana might address them, and you might address them as well. Maybe you know the answer to somebody's question, and what we'll do is that we'll spend at most 3 minutes on 3, 4, 5 minutes at most on each of the burning questions that you take, and it's a first come first serve, and then we'll switch regardless if we answered it or not. It's just not to have a complete understanding on each and every question, but to put as many things on the board as possible, so you learn from the collective sharing of the problems, at least, if not from sharing the answers to the problems. Yeah. Silence is a yes for me. And we move on to the first one that brings a question to the table. Just turn on your mics and go from there. Ioana, back to you, just listening from now on.
Sandro here. Can I start?
Hey, Sandro.
Yeah, so the first thing, big vision against immediate action and market size, how to connect those two. For instance, my big vision is tackling the mobile learning industry itself, the huge vision. But I am starting on the English learning market, and those are the market size or the market figures that I share, how to make those two work together and make sense.
Great one on the table. Thanks, Sandro.
Thanks, Sandro. So are you talking about how to prioritize the information that you display in the deck?
Not necessarily, but more the message. Like, let's say, I don't know, I want to change a market that is 10 times bigger than the market that I am actually starting with. Which one should I present as the opportunity? Right now, what I'm doing is, it's a market big enough, of course, that is English language learning. Mm-hmm. But my main line, my tagline is we're building the future of mobile learning, which mobile learning goes to, a huge, larger market. So my initial hint, or what I'm doing right now, is that I'm focusing on the market that I'm in, the market share like English, which somehow the feedback that I've been getting is that I'm an English learning app, which is not entirely. It's just that this is the niche that I'm starting with. That's a challenge that I've been having, trying to match those things without losing focus and without getting the audience off track. And try to just put them in a context of a language learning. I'm not sure if I'm making myself clear.
I hope so. Let's see. So what I would say is maybe illustrate the market according to the English learning market, but have the vision, the bigger vision in the timeline illustrated. So make sure that you do show your growth vision, but look at the addressable market, the one that you're looking at right now, because this is where this is the market you're currently targeting, and this is realistically what will get you to the next point and to the next stage, and then you'll see if the next stage is addressing another secondary market before you go global, or so on and so forth. So it might not be from the English learning market you'll jump to the global market, right? So there might be some other steps in between, but it's good to show you can have that. And actually this applies, it's another important, quite important point, the milestones slides, right? So you can have milestones illustrated for the product and for the business side, right? So you can have those, you can have the bigger vision illustrated in the slide where you discuss the milestones of the business.
Makes sense. Thank you for that.
Cool. Let's either add to the topic, and now maybe it's the time for anyone else to come up with their things on the same problem, but expand the problem, or add another topic to the board. Who was that? Turning in the mic. There's a question in the chat, but jump in with yours.
I would like to add one for market size, because this was the current topic, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course.
So we're looking at the self-development market that has, we have some data regarding the global market and also the European market, right? We are trying to get traction in London, which is of course a much smaller market, if we're talking about UK self-development market or self-development market in the UK. However, we have no data about, what is the self-development market in the UK. And the question is that all right? Or should we, try to apply some ratio or, try to have some logic behind computing what is the self-development market in the UK, which is our, let's say, starting market? I'm not sure if my question was clear enough. Maybe I can.
I think you already know the answer to this.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a yes.
Okay.
So if you're starting or if you're expanding, or you should have a clear understanding of why you've chosen that market and what's the chunk you'd like to get out of it, and what's the competitive landscape there, and what are the barriers to entry. What are your strength points on the market? So do you have exactly, to answer the question why you've chosen that, because the market has potential, because you've got some great leads there, because for example, in my case, I've been in the UK for 10 years, so I might have connections there that could help me, or I might have, so there could be some subjective company reasons behind it, or easier to make partnerships. Or it could be on the ideal customer profile scenario.
Yeah.
So there are quite a few paths on how to describe why you've chosen the market, but the answer is yes.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Maybe I could ask a question.
Jump in, yeah.
Hey, thank you. I would like to address the competition bullet of your slide, and ask about no competition, because we have no competition in Romania, and I will try to ask a few questions in order to get things better understood by me, and also maybe by my colleagues. As you know, the Romanian education market is in somewhere in 1960s, and we're talking about a standardized tests tool similar to SAT, GMAT, etc. And the state-of-the-art technology product, and our competition, because in the educational system in Romania, the usual evaluation products are done by teachers. So teachers are providing the exams for children, or maybe the ministry. And Brio is the only product that does stuff like this, educational standardized testing, state-of-the-art testing. And we have no competition. No one does that exactly the same thing that we do. But we have a competition, I guess, in the teachers area, because teachers are providing test materials, but not online.
And the challenge is, let's narrow down to the challenge. So
the challenge is, yes, we have no competition, but you said no competition. So how do we smooth things up?
So the thing with no competition, and why it will always raise the eyebrows of how come, is people have definitely, they do use some form of maybe not your product in particular, but they have a habit of some sort.
Yes.
They're using something, even if it's not as innovative, as useful, as good, as strong, as etc., as your product. They do have a way to solve a problem, because that's why you're there, because there's a problem.
Yes.
And you haven't invented the problem.
No.
And with the solution.
Yeah.
So if the problem is there, even if it's bad, people have a solution so far that's, or even if it's not suitable, or as I said, you have improvements, that's why you're a differentiator. There is something that they're currently using. So this is the competition. It doesn't necessarily need to be on the same bracket, but it's what people are doing right now as an alternative to you. This is
okay.
So if you're if you're bringing something that's completely different to what they're currently doing, look at how and what are the other who are the other entities that they're using in terms of tools, in terms of a practical ways to solve, as I said, that problem that's not you, and put it in the bracket of competition. And then when you explain that, you'll also get to that point of, so one way to look at the competition slide, let's see if I've, so here, some examples of how you can illustrate the competition slide. There's so many ways, again, on how you put that. Do you put it on a scale? Do you put it on an axis? Do you put it on, this little flower here that has, a way of understanding that might be a bit, do you put it as a chart with features? Regardless of how you decide to actually illustrate this, you'll get to that differentiator point just by looking at what people are using right now, and then you'll see if you tick all the boxes. If we take this example of here is from the slide of Dropbox's deck, right? So it's easier because this is direct competition, but basically it's indirect competition for you, right? But you should have someone and some entities that have already brought a solution, as I said, even if it's worse than yours in your vision, but make sure you explain that.
Okay. Okay, clearly understood. Thank you.
Just to use you guys, maybe tell us just in brief some of you that already addressed this problem and found the solution to how to, that was what you wanted to say, Rafal?
Yeah, that wanted to say that.
Cool. Mind reader.
I had the same problem at the beginning because I can say we are the only solution in the world that is counting all the data coming from the workouts. So we see everything. So we can say we're the only one, we don't have competition in that, yeah? But speaking to the investors, we found out that they are comparing us to some different solutions. Yeah, they are thinking wider about even the market that doesn't depend on us. Yeah, so they started to compare us to some other things from even other markets. So we decided to better make the competition find the competition in this thinking. So we are saying for now, for example, that yes, we can compete with the equipment producers that make smart equipment. That's not a retrofit, but they doing it actually, yeah. If we compete with wearables, no, it's an add-in. Great to connect these technologies together. That's not competition. But in these terms, at the beginning, we were doing the same furniture, the same thing wrong, that we were telling that there is no competition for that solution, and they just realized me that there is competition, but not in the way I was thinking about it. Yep. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Rafael. And whenever you have examples, you can jump in to contribute to the situation. Dominic.
Sure, I
and
would
then
like
Ilya.
to add something that you have to remember that there is at least 7 companies that do exactly the same thing worldwide. So this is the statistics. So you have to be focused on that, and we also are aware of that. In some sort, we have no competition, but you should focus on how you want to compete on status quo nowadays of the problem, not only to show how unique you are, but how you want to compete with things that people are used to in years, and because there is a problem, and the problem exists even without you. So this is the fact that you should to focus on how you want to compete with the things that people are used to do. So with this problem. So yeah.
And I wanted to say 2 more things. Understanding your competition actually in super detail is a strength point. It means that you know who you're fighting with. So if you don't have anyone on the list, it shows that you're a bit, I wouldn't say naive, but it's one of the things that you might come across as being, And then another thing, investors, this is what they do. They eat and they see startups, a lot of startups, just startups. So take a look at startups as well in terms of competition. So who out there is trying to revolutionize and to change things the way you're doing, because you might come across some teams that have knocked the investors' doors, even though they're not as on the market as available as you might think. But if investors just have met just 1 or 2 other teams that does something similar, at least to what you're doing, and you come and you say there's competition, it already shows that you don't have an understanding necessarily of the market or who are the players in the market. So try to take this into account in terms of as an insight, right? So there are people who are trying to change things for sure, and you cannot be the only one.
Ilya was trying to say something. Ilya, could you get in?
Yes, I was wanting to comment that what others said. So technically, if you say that there is no competition, the investors think that you are not competent and didn't do your homework. That's probably what they think. That was our experience in that. And can I ask a question then?
Of course.
Yeah. So I posted in. Please do. Yeah, I posted in the chat. Sorry, I need to clarify. So the question is about traction and what traction to show on the slide. So if we are below €1,000 per month in MRR, should we show percentages, or that we've grown from €200 to €300 in a month, and from 300 to 600 in another month? So what is because the investors ask, what's your annual contract value? What's your MRR? What is your financial parameters? And I'm always struggling what to say.
Okay, so what to do when you don't have money in your cash, in your bank
No,
account?
I have, but small.
It's too little money, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
To be honest, go with what you've got, because this is how it is. So even if the growth was and the pace was not necessarily something that you or you wanted a different pace, go with what you've got. Go with any sort of engagement that you can explain. So by engagement, you can have, you know, there. I'm talking generalistically now, and not just about.
I understand.
So it could be users, downloads, paying users, partnerships, letters
Usage.
of newsletter subscribers if you're going on that way. So, you know, on the com side, so anything that you've got that shows interest in your product and validates what people and investors want to see is that your product, you know, that's the product market fit, right? But and when you're found your niche, but that they want to see that you know what you're building, you know who you're addressing, and yeah, difficult, very difficult, right? But this is something that will show will indicate your product market fits, right? So you're building something for those people who need it, but at least to show that you're on the right path on identifying that ideal customer profile, and that you have a sense of, are you going into the right direction or not? And you have a sense of, if you have this traction, how do you, what's the strategy and the growth plan so that you can make these numbers look better? Or have you identified how do you want to address making things different in regards to this traction? So what do you have so far, and what's your vision in regards to the growth, and to, for example, if you're raising an amount, how do you want to spend the money? And you consider that the money that you're raising will help you on these key areas that for the time being you're are a point where you're stuck because you need the capital in order to move forward, right? So
Okay.
that's why you have that conversation, because you need more capital, or you need more partners, or you need, you know, the go-to-market strategy needs to be tested or improved. So people understand that, and that's the whole point of being a startup. You're on a trial and error phase. So as long as you have the data backed, and as long as you don't put fluffy numbers in it just for the sake of putting fluffy numbers, honestly, and having a clear understanding, and not that, you know, naive thinking of, we'll just change the world type of thing. The world really needs us, right? So just work with what you've got, and reality. Reality
Thanks.
is way better.
Thanks, Ilya. Thanks, Fiona. Ilya, if the cash in bank now is a deal breaker for the ones that you're speaking with, then at least it's better to find out, not spending much time on those discussions. Yeah. So if that's why they won't invest in you and then they won't collaborate with you, you won't get rid of the elephant in the room. You still won't have that. Not more than that cash in bank.
Yeah, but
Ilya.
they come to yeah. Okay. So thanks guys. Thank you.
Yeah. You cannot do that. Let's see if Veronica and Marion wanted to say things. Veronica, then Marion, on the same problem. Add more. Add another topic to the same problem.
I actually have a different topic. So if Marion has a similar topic, she can continue.
Yeah. Marion, or if Ilya, you want to expand a bit and then move on to Marion.
Wait, yeah, you can hear me. No, I had a question about DAM. I don't know if it goes into the same topic or not.
Just go ahead, and we'll see how it's.
Right. So what our problem has been with pitching is our size of the thumb, because it turned out that our competitors, who we thought are competitors, are now paying customers. So our first target customers are paying for us, and now our competitors are also paying customers. And our thumb now seems very big. And this is kind of the feedback that we get from showing our pitch deck, that it's not reasonably sized thumb, that it seems too big. So my question is, what is the kind of percentage that we should show, like 25% of the market that we want to reach, or 20%, or what could make it more reasonable? I mean, for context, how we calculate the thumb is at the current price that we take from customers at the moment, times the number of target customers in Europe. And then we say that 30% is what we aim to achieve. The 30% of these target users will use us with the price that we take right now. And then it turns out that the thumb is 7.9 billion in Europe, and the feedback is that too high. But in reality, the competition is also our client and paying for us right now.
Okay. Yeah. Then the numbers seem to be quite quite big, because this is something. I mean, do you have on your slide? Do you only discuss about the TAM, or do you discuss about the serviceable addressable market as well, or do you discuss about the smaller markets as well? Because
we did say that, you know, the total TAM, and then if there was like 25%, that is like about 2 billion. But there's no like logic behind it, which has made it smaller. I just like, what is the reasonable TAM that we should be selling, or a percentage of the market that seems reasonable?
I mean, I think it's so different from, maybe we should discuss this more or less separately, because it's a matter of industry, and it's a matter of, you know, particularities for each industry. I don't think there's a recipe, and there's something that could be, this is really something, if you want, we can look at it separately, and we can go through the numbers to see what makes sense. Because I wouldn't want to give you know, recipes right now. I just want to say that what I can say is that you can do the splits from small to big. So try to narrow it down and work your way around what's the addressable markets, you know, bottom up. So try to look at it and put all three layers, right? So if you put all three layers, at least you've got that sense of close, immediate market that you're addressing, and then, you know, the bigger one. Because if you just put the big one there, and if you leave it just that, yes, it does seem unrealistic, and that's the thing. Nobody's saying you won't get that share. It's just you can't skip steps.
Yeah, that sounds
Cool.
Thanks.
Let's move to Veronica's most burning question. Then Alina had one. I saw you, Alina, and then Hadi, and we're I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes away from the time we've reserved in all your calendars. But if Ioana can stay more and you can stay more, probably we can expand it to another 50 minutes or so. Go ahead, Veronica. Thanks.
Yeah,
Let's keep this
so
rolling.
I wanted to ask regarding a practical thing. So when the first time an investor is seeing our pitch deck is, for example, in an email, so they ask to send over the pitch deck. would you go for a pitch deck that has a little bit more text there, not just visuals and numbers and so on, but a little bit more text to give a context for the investor when they just go through it before the call? What is like the best way to do it to increase your chances of actually getting the meeting with the investor? Because right now we're working with two versions. One is with a little bit text so that the investor understands when they flip through the pitch deck, and one is really like very lightweight for presenting, for pitching.
Okay, so what I would say is look into how comfortable that investor is, what industry expertise that investor has. So see if the investor has a clear understanding and the background is, look at Speed Invest, for example. They've got teams that are dedicated to fintech, deep tech, health tech, right? So if you reach to the health tech team, you'll know for sure that those guys are only looking at health tech businesses and they'll understand, right? So even if you put some terms there that are not as easily understood by other investors, you do know that their expertise is there. So first and foremost, see if it's a generalistic investor and sector agnostic, and what's the experience on your industry and the understanding, and then explain a bit the industry. Don't just if it's not somebody who's familiar, you have to explain a bit the industry so that they have a sense of the context. In regards to the details, the slides should still be clear and clean. The investors still skim the deck, so they you can have attachments, or you can have at the end some slides that are extra detailed with things that you're comfortable, but you can also mention that you can share those details via email, or in the meeting or after you've had the meeting. So you can say, we've got these, if you're interested, please, we can send across, these are other details or documents or whatever you might have on your business that you're willing to share, without sending everything at the beginning. Testing the grounds to see their interest as well, because if you send too much from the beginning, they might not understand. They might not, if you're not there to to actually explain some reasoning, it might create more confusion. So don't, from a practical point of view, don't write long emails. Just go straight to the point. Present yourself. Just try exactly to go to why you're writing, and what you'd like to get from the meeting, as simple and as short as possible. All investors appreciate super concise messaging, so try to stick to that and offer information if they're interested. Make sure that they know you've got availability to send them, but don't over clutter.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And with the emails, that's like no problem. Rather, I meant the slides themselves. They shouldn't definitely be over cluttered with too much text, but in some cases, a sentence or half a sentence here and there help to actually increase the understanding of each slide. Or you would go with a really lightweight pitch deck that you also present the same one exactly.
If it helps, yes, use a sentence or two. Especially if it's something that you send across and they read, rather than it supports your presentation, your pitch. So yeah, do have, but don't switch the percentage. So don't put too much.
Yeah.
Right? Of course, adapt it a bit and test it. So send it to other people before you send it to them, and see, just test it to as many people as possible to see what are the slides that they skipped? What are the things that they remembered after going through the deck? Ask questions. So what do we do? Who are we addressing, or what the key points that you want the investors to remember about you, and why you're different, why do you stand out, why are you the one who's building this, and it's the perfect timing for them to look at what you're doing. So you should create that hype, that momentum. Details are important, but make them burn is more important. So if you lose and if they miss the opportunity out of the deck because you've put too much information, you've defeated your purpose of sending them that, right? So make them curious as well, right? So if you send too much detail, they won't have that, right? I'd like to find out more.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you.
Alina wanted to say something. I saw Ru, and once again, we have 10 or so minutes left, but if you want, I can say more, and if you want to expand this, it's a negotiation with her. Alina, yep.
Hello, hi guys. Nice to see you. I had a question about traction. Actually, I wanted to add another question to the traction discussion. We realized that we have a pretty long sell process. So for us, a lot of effort went in contracts that are, let's say, hot and ready to sign, but are still in the process of getting signed, right? It's still in the decision process, internal decision process. So my question was that whether or not those count.
So the ongoing traction, not the, let's say, not the
exactly ongoing process.
Yeah, it won't go on the traction bits necessarily. It will go on the milestones, or you'll go on the next steps slide, or on the vision is maybe a bit more bigger scale, but it will go on the milestones, I would say. So depending on where they stand. So if it's from a business point of view and the partnerships, yeah, I wouldn't put it, if it's not there yet, I wouldn't, you cannot put it on the traction that's already theirs, right? But you can put it on milestones that you think you'll hit in the near future, and prospect, and looking at how things are evolving, or even you can put it on the partners slide, but have some sort of interest, right? Interest in this, and then or you can explain it in words, but basically you can put the the same as the letters of intent or the pilot projects, or you never know how they're gonna end, but they started. So the intention is there, and they could turn into your next paying customers, your next. So you can have it on the go-to-market strategy slide, or you could link it to that, because it is part of your strategy. So I wouldn't put it under traction if it's not there yet.
Awesome. Thank you.
I think Hadi had a similar question. Hadi, if you're still here, did this answer to your question as well?
Yes, I had almost the same question, that we have, for example, some partnerships with agencies who are willing to, even at the moment, they are offering to use our service to their existing clients. Even some of them are the biggest in the Baltic agency in the Baltic, for example, Media Brands or OMD or Havas Digital or this type of things. Does it add any value to our pitch deck or even the traction? I would say probably with the previous answer, it wouldn't go to the traction, but still as a work process, or where we started or where we are going, maybe it adds some value to the process. And that was my question. Thank you.
I think the most important bit, even if you put it, so you know, I've seen decks where the traction was split into what the current and the past and the future plans. As long as you make a clear split of plans and targets versus real traction, again, honesty is way better than anything else. So as long as you make a clear split and a clear differentiate, and you differentiate very clearly, this is what has happened, and it's there. These are the users that are actually, you know, paid us so far, and these are the clients, and these are the signed contracts. You can say in terms of investment as well, right? So you've got some money committed, but until you actually signed the papers, they're not there until the money is in your bank account. But you can mention the you know, the intention. So it's the same conversation that you have on the investment end. Of course, when until you actually have finalized your round, the money is not there. So you cannot say, yes, it's a done deal, but you can say we've got this amount committed. It's more or less the same, right, with the partnerships. So we've started the conversation but we haven't actually reached the, you know, 6 months from down the line. These are the things that we are hoping to accomplish with the partnership. It's absolutely necessary to mention that you've started, but just don't put it on things that you've already achieved. Make a clear distinction in between those two, and I think you should be fine. And you know, I think I said to Alina, I wouldn't put it under traction. You know, you can put it under if you want to combine, let's say, from a practical point of view, the slides and have a slide of traction. You can have, you know, a timeline on what you've got and a timeline on the projects and the vision, on the plan, sorry, and the vision and the targets, as long as you make a split.
Thank you.
Thank you for the answer.
Ruth?
Hey everyone, I've finally reached my destination, so hopefully you can hear me properly. So my question, actually I have two questions if that's okay. So first one is on financials, and specifically which figures would be most important for a startup of my stage for the investors. And to put it a little bit in context, we have a slight issue of total revenue versus the net sales from last year, for example, right? Our total revenue were about 23,000. Where net sales were just below 500 because we just launched the product right at the end of the year. So all of that revenue we had is actually non-operating income. Is that relevant at all? Shall I mention it? Shall I put it on the financial slides? Or shall I just rather stick to like this year's figures, which let's say in this year actually is going to be the opposite. The total revenue will be lower, most likely, but the net sales will be way higher.
Okay, so I would say you'll probably find different answers to this. So probably first suggestion would be to actually test it and see if you've got questions on each end and what sort of questions. And I would say, so from my point of view, it would be, again, I'm trying to say that this could be a subjective answer. So I would put both from my point of view, but it might not be the same case. If you test it with somebody else, you might get a different answer. From my point of view, I would put both. You're asking what sort of financials and what sort of details. So on the financial slide, you should have your business model, basically. So how do you charge? What are the layers and the plan? Are you B2B or B2C? So what's the revenue stream, what are the, you could also link it to the go-to-market strategies, right? So how do you, or you could link it, not necessarily again from practicality point of view on the same slide, but you could link it in your narrative. So how do you want to address the customers, and what are the means to do that, and what are what revenue models, so what business model are you using to make sure that you've got a sustainable business? And if you explain where and what's the profile of your customers, you will explain as well, or you could link to the financials bit so that the investors understand how quickly you can generate revenue, what are the ways you're reaching the customers that you thought of, so the go-to-market strategy, right? So what are your ways of reaching them? What's the cost of acquisition of the user? So how much money is needed? And this also indicates the scalability and how fast you can go. And this could also link to if you're approaching angels or VCs, right? So what sort of stability you've got and what sort of capital you need for your next step. So try to have a very, very, very clear understanding of that business model. And the easiest way for your audience to understand how do you monetize, and how do you make sense of all these strategies that you've got aligned to make sure that the most important bit is stability, because the stability bit will get you to to consider the next point. And if the next point is, a new feature in your product development, or if the next point is reaching out to different markets or to different segments or to different, but as long as you don't have that stability, you won't be able to go to the next step. So try to have that. And the financials bit is so interesting, because this is what brings stability to your business. And this is what means that you are a business, not just a vision, but a business.
If you don't have money, Ru, you should have at least an explanation of why you don't have money yet, and the plan of how you are going to make money. So the usefulness of the product should be shown in numbers as well, like how people are using it, so metrics, product metrics, if not business metrics. You had another question, but I'm also curious on the opinions of the group. When did it work and when did it backfire on the same topic? So when actually the numbers helped you, and when actually numbers backfired on your discussions with investors. Let's say I see that most of the topics are circling the investment relationship and the investor relationship. So when did it work? When did it not? Could you give us an example or two? Anyone from the group?
I guess I can just follow up with kind of our experience so far. That even though we have like over 7,000 in net sales, and that's after paying VAT, it's happened only during a few short months, because we basically had to put a stop to it because of global semiconductor shortage, and we just couldn't get the right components that we need to actually manufacture stock. And having this little bit of revenue, which even though kind of looks nicely on the graph, it was growing exponentially. It's so tiny that seems like it's almost like backfired in some of my previous pitches, that investors, they just don't take it seriously. They don't want to understand that we are really, really small, and Latvia is really, really small as well. And it's hardware, and we have to ship it, and they just want to see like larger absolute figures to actually give us a chance.
thanks for adding what actually happens or what happened. Cool. You want to add something else to this, Ru? Or someone else can jump in with their.
I can just add a little bit on my second question, which relates also to financials. So that's to do with traction. So as we are post-revenue and we have this traction from beginning of this year, which actually shows nicely in regards to the growth, but not in regards to the absolute figures. How much will I focus on that versus on the future and the vision, which actually is the case that we are completely changing the business model right now. Well, okay, maybe not completely, but we still charge a little bit for the hardware, but just to cover our costs. And then we really focus on subscription, because that seems to be the major issue, that everybody just wants to see MRR. So we want to start testing it already and gain some commitments from customers. But that's all. I don't know how much of that traction I can actually, like, say, show, you know, over the next months or two. So how much will I show on that, or what I'm actually currently actively doing to give them the figures that they want to see, versus the hard traction that we actually have from beginning of the year, which don't seem to be that relevant to them.
I don't think there's a how much you should have both. So I don't think they are opposite in a way. So I don't see why one works against the other, in the sense of vision versus traction. So why do you see they're competing against each other somehow, or they're competing against investors' attention?
I don't think they're necessarily competing, but the time is very limited. I take it as a 3-minute pitch, and I've always really struggled to put all the information there. So that's why I'm just trying to understand what I should highlight a bit more in regards to the past that we have, or the large future that we're aiming for.
I think in your case in particular, the differentiator is very important. So how do you stand out? And you've got the hardware component that, you know, always raises this question of scalability, because software is scalable, hardware is difficult. So I think you've got you know, other things to necessarily I wouldn't say worry about, but to make sure that are clearly explained in your deck, rather than you know, should I focus on traction or vision? Vision can be a sentence. It could be the same as your value prop. Your vision can be explained into very quickly into the market opportunity, and then where do you see yourselves when you're the big shot? How exactly does that sound in your eyes? So when you get there, how does it sound when you're there, right? So that's the big vision. But I don't think that will be the burning issue of explaining, you know, how does being successful mean for you. You should explain it, but as long as it's explained, it's there. As I said, I think you've got other things to compete with that are more pressing in regards to exactly what you're building. And it's that scalability component, is the differentiator, is the barriers to entry on different markets, and how are you approaching, what's your go-to-market strategy? You're trying to go to different geographies. So how do you approach the go-to-market and the next steps and the milestones that you see there, and cost of acquisition? Because you know, if you're raising capital, investors will want to know, are you going to spend it on hardware, on marketing, on distribution, or software, or on what are you going to spend that? So you should have the answers very clear to these. And I wouldn't say don't worry about, just name both traction and vision.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
I'm seeing
Can I add?
Ilya again. Just to make sure, so we're past the time that we put in everyone's schedule. You're just staying here because you want to, and feel free to use as much time as Ioana still has. A note to everyone before you start jumping out of the call, because you can do that. Carry on introducing yourselves in Slack. If you don't know what Slack is, I mean, if you don't know that we have a Slack with you, you can get back to your inbox. You have an email regarding this. We'll share the resources mentioned here in the chat. Yeah, so we'll take each and every one, or share the whole conversation with the links there too, and we'll keep on sending you invites for the upcoming Q&As or sessions that could help you for the next weeks, and then meetings as well, as we talked in the last days. Cool. Yeah. Enjoy the time that Ioana still has. Ilya, back at you.
Yeah.
And
So
anyone
I'd
that wants to
say,
jump in, please do.
Guys, thanks a lot for the super interesting conversation, and for contributing to this as a conversation and sharing your experience with the others as well. I think on my end, probably 5 more minutes or so, but we can. That's why Alex has mentioned Slack. So Slack is there because all of you are there, and we're there as well. So this is only the starting point of the conversation, and hopefully the same collaborative environment will happen throughout the next weeks as well. So we know for sure that you learn so much from everybody's experience. So we hope that you'll feel part of this group, and sharing anything whatsoever in terms of resources that you find useful, in terms of advice, what happened to you on the good and the bad side. So we're all learning from each other, and especially you from one another, and you'll have particularities per industries as well. So you'll get to see next week who's actually, take a look at on the website until next week to see again who are all the other 41 teams in the program, and see who you might be more interested in chatting to and into connecting, and then do that on Slack or an email or phone, or hunt them on LinkedIn or Facebook or whatever you feel comfortable. Cool. So I'm not sure if anybody else had.
Yeah,
maybe
some follow-up. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a quick question, because I have the same struggle as it was Ru, I think, that in 3 minutes it's very tough to cover everything. So I was told by one investment associate a very interesting rule. So if you are below, let's say 2,000 MRR, and you are not growing 30% per week, you focus on the story. If you are above that number, you focus on the metrics in these 3 minutes. So this is what I was told, and I use this as a general rule. So as we are below 2,000, then the main focus in these 3 minutes is telling the story. Why now? Why me? And why we're gonna win this, and why it's a huge market everybody is overlooking right now. That is the rule I heard. Okay, and I hope it helps.
That sounds very reasonable, but you should have the answer ready for this question anyways, because I'm pretty sure you'll get it. So if you don't want to clutter necessarily your slides, I think I've also mentioned that. So the order of the slides and how and what you put emphasis on is according to what are your strengths as a team in particular. So that's why there's no recipe. That's why we didn't want to bring today examples of how you should be doing things, because you'll need to prioritize on what stands out for you. So yes, you're right. In terms of the narrative, you should have that regardless of the traction and regardless of any other details. And it's there are two ways. So just to put it on more, technical, if you want, it's the data-driven approach and is the concept-driven approach of a pitch. At the seed stage, pre-seed stage, going towards even Series A. So let's just say at the first steps of the fundraising process, the pitches are more concept-driven. When you've got traction, and I'm saying, the traction slide really stands out past Series A. So this is where your pitch is data-driven. This is where you wouldn't stand a chance if you don't have details on the traction, if you're raising capital, at Series A and beyond. So data-driven, and this is the split. And what you've heard from the feedback that you got from the investor or analyst is that it's correct. And these are the technical terms, if you want, on the data-driven and concept-driven. So yeah, that's pretty much correct. At the beginning, you have the vision, you have the concept, and you need to explain why you'll get to the next stages. And when you'll have that traction to fill up a slide that you feel comfortable, you'll know it. It's because you're at that point where there's no doubt that you have those numbers, and you feel not just comfortable, but you're bragging with them. And this is the stage of growth. At the beginning, what I wanted to say was highlight what you still have, even if it's not that much. If you don't feel that your strong point is there in any case, still have that answer ready, because I'm pretty sure you'll get the question of where you're at and what's the current state of the product and of the business. If somebody leaves the meeting, or if somebody doesn't have a clear understanding of where you're at right now, and no question comes afterwards, I don't really think there's an interest there. So it needs to be very, very clear on what's the reality behind the business right now as it is. Cool. So I think
there are a couple of other things mentioned in chat, and I would definitely, I think I'm actually going to share the chat in Slack so you can revise it a bit, because there are mentions from some particular people to the others, most burning questions and so on and so forth. On the one hand, on the other hand, we'll get back with the other group sessions, either Q&As with top-notch investors and experts, either the session, for example, with Bogdan that will help you build or revise your investment scenario, which is next week, and just leaving you all to say goodbye for the moment. Thanks for bringing your most burning questions. Thanks for giving more context to them. Thanks for answering on the sides of the people that were actually confronting with those problems, even they didn't raise them as a topic now. Thanks also for listening. I'm sure that everyone will get back to revise their deck and hopefully change something. And when you do that, send them to us as well. You can send them in Slack, publicly, to us directly, however you want. Just make sure that an updated version over the weekends, early next week, because I do believe that you will do some changes, even if there are small twists and turns. Give us the updated deck, because we'll put up to be available to all the people that you'll meet, and some more. Ioana, thanks.
Great, guys. So thanks again. Thanks as well for having the session being so interactive. We'll keep in touch. I think yeah, we'll wrap it up for now. And have a great weekend. Hope this was useful, and we'll keep in touch. So welcome to Spotlight.
Thank you again. Bye bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Have a
Bye.
nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Ciao,
Goodbye.
ciao.
Yep. Cheers and jump off. Thanks. See you soon.
Bye.
Can I have a quick
Thank you.
question
Bye.
for the team,
Please,
for
please,
how
please.
to web team?
And we'll see you tomorrow. That's a joke. Yeah, don't get scared.
I'm not scared. I'm working tomorrow. So.
Yeah. Definitely we can see
So-
us tomorrow as well.
Yeah. Can you
shoot
please
email.
send us the slides or the recording, better the
Yeah, yeah,
slides today,
Both.
because then
Both will be available. I'll upload just for your use, and please keep it that way, the recording, and we can definitely have the link from Ioana.
yes, thanks a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice
Absolutely.
weekend, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.